Brought to you by Penguin.
The Road to Freedom by Joseph E. Stiglitz. Read by Paul Boehmer.
Preface. Freedom is a core human value. But many of freedom's advocates seldom ask what the idea really means. Freedom for whom? What happens when one person's freedom comes at the expense of another's? The Oxford philosopher Isaiah Berlin put it well when he said, "Freedom for the wolves has often meant death to the sheep." How are we to balance political and economic freedoms? What is the meaning of the right to vote for someone who's starving? What about the freedom to live up to one's potential, which may only be possible if we tax the rich and deprive them of the freedom to spend as they want? The right, in the United States, seized on the rhetoric of freedom several decades ago, claiming it as their own, just as they claimed patriotism and the American flag as their own. Freedom is an important value that we do and ought to cherish. But it is more complex and more nuanced than the right's invocation. The current conservative reading of what freedom means is superficial, misguided, and ideologically motivated. The right claims to be the defender of freedom, but I'll reveal that the way they define the word and pursue it has led to the opposite result, vastly reducing the freedoms of most citizens. A good initial and central place in which these shortcomings can be identified is the conflation of free markets with economic freedom, and economic freedom with political freedom. A few quotes from Republican leaders convey the spirit of what I have in mind. As the U.S. economy was on the verge of a meltdown in 2008, after decades of financial deregulation, and the government was about to undertake the most massive bailout of the private sector in the history of the planet, George W. Bush, who served as president when the financial crisis occurred, put what was at issue as follows. While reforms in the financial sector are essential, the long-term solution to today's problems is sustained economic growth, and the surest path to that growth is free markets and free people. Before Bush, Ronald Reagan, whose presidency, 1981 to 1989, was widely viewed as a turning point toward the right and a full-throated embrace of free markets, had enumerated an economic Bill of Rights. He regretted that the Constitution hadn't gone far enough in guaranteeing these rights, focusing instead on political rights. As he explained, inextricably linked to these political freedoms are protections for the economic freedoms. While the Constitution sets our political freedoms in greater detail, these economic freedoms are part and parcel of it. There are 4 essential economic freedoms. They are what links life inseparably to liberty, what enables an individual to control his own destiny, what makes self-government and personal independence part of the American experience. The 4 freedoms are: 1. Freedom to work. 2. Freedom to enjoy the fruits of one's labor. 3. Freedom to own and control one's property. And 4. The freedom to participate in a free market, to contract freely for goods and services, and to achieve one's full potential without government limits on opportunity, economic independence, and growth. While the colonialists rebel.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?